Hello and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. I'm your host Lance here with my other host Matt. Every episode we like to start off with our adult beverages of choice. Today Matt's sharing a bottle of Jipsi Explorer whiskey. The stuff is pretty good and we're chasing it back with our traditional New Glarus spotted cow.
Yeah, we got some, traditional southern whiskey with some northern beer. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, a little bit of everywhere.
Absolutely.
So, Matt, do you want to let everyone know what we're going to be talking about today?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to say this first of all, if you haven't watched this show, you absolutely have to. It's the best show from the fall season, and that is Dandadan. Dandadan is about a cult nerd who has no friends and this semi-popular girl who loves yokai, and they try to prove to each other which one is more real, and you get a little bit of fan service and some craziness along the way.
Yeah, keep it nice and short because if you're listening to this episode, you probably watched this, and it's hard to miss the main point of this season.
Yes, absolutely. I know there was one thing you wanted to do for Lance's lesson. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to work out, but what do you got for us today?
Yeah, today's Lance's lessons, I was really hoping was going to be the Japanese word for banana, but unfortunately, it's banana. So, no surprises there. So, let's go a little dirtier today. Today, we're going to do the Japanese word for penis. And penis is inkei. Inkei is spelled I-N-K-E-I. And inkei is going to be relevant to today because multiple times bananas made references. Okarun loses his peen, and he also loses his balls, but, we're going to keep it a little dirty today.
Yeah, give me... The aliens just wanted his banana for reproductive organs, and... I was not expecting that one, but we will put a pin in that and talk about that when we get to the actual conversation.
Right, yeah. And before any potential interruptions with discussions, Matt reads the manga for every episode, so was there any differences with today's episode?
NANI?!
Yes, there were a handful. Nothing too crazy for anybody that can't wait until summer of next year and wants to start reading the manga right away to see what's going to happen in Season 2. Start on Chapter 34. The only thing that doesn't happen at the end of Chapter 33 is Momo doesn't get attacked by the turtle creature things, right? That's what those are.
Oh, I know they said something along the lines of gatoring, which was a funny concept.
Yeah.
But I would have just said that they were humans.
Okay.
Or yokai to some degree.
Yeah, Okarun talks about it.
Okay.
On the train, he talks about what they are, and I'm assuming they're the same thing, because why mention it and then have some sort of paranormal thing happening?
Yeah, right. There needs to be some parallels there.
That's me kind of assuming, I guess, that they never actually tell us. But anyways, Momo doesn't get attacked at the end of Chapter 33. She does get attacked in Chapter 34, but there's a couple things that happen in Chapter 34 that I would suggest to just read that chapter.
Okay.
In case anybody is wondering, this manga series is ongoing. We currently, as of the middle of December, have 177 chapters. But to get into the manga differences, they talk about Takakura and who he is, because really we have no idea unless you know who that, you looked him up in real life, actually looked him up because he is a real person.
So for everyone that needs a reminder, the real Ken Takakura that Momo Ayase is in love with, and she gets her world shattered when she finds out that Okarun's name is Ken Takakura.
Yes.
So we know a little, the manga explains a little bit of this Takakura.
Basically, his personality, strong stoic type.
Okay. Yeah, and Ken's the opposite.
Ken, yeah, he is definitely not.
Okarun, I should say.
One of the biggest things that glad I didn't have anything, I wasn't trying to drink something as I was reading it, is you remember in the beginning, Okarun was showing Momo the magazine of the aliens, when they first meet. Mm. And it's just, I think it was supposed to be just some random U.S. president or something like that. Well, in the manga, it's Obama.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, God damn, that's Obama. It did no hesitation. It was 100% him.
That's funny.
Then Momo's room has almost the entire room is animal print. Like the walls, almost everything is animal print. And I'm just like, whoa, that's a lot. But okay.
It's a lot of detail for the manga, too.
Yeah, right? This is something that I told you offline when we were talking before we actually got into this. But the first 2 chapters were almost 70 pages each. For anybody that's never read manga, that's a lot of pages for a single chapter.
Yeah.
After that, it averaged in the mid-20s, drastically reduced. But the first 2 chapters were insanely long. When Okarun and Momo were trying to find each other, what was that, episode 3 or 4? In the school, they were trying to find each other, and like they kept walking past each other.
Uh-huh.
Well, in the manga, you could see just how close they were, because in the anime, it was kind of hard to see, which was intentional. I didn't mind it, but in the manga, you had like upward shots of everything, and you could see just how close they were. And like when they were walking through the halls with all the students and stuff, it was literally like one would be at like basically they were diagonal from each other with just a row of students in between. Like that's how close they were from missing each other.
Yeah, the anime showed that one.
Yeah. Okay. So just made it way more obvious how close they were. Then Akira Silky. So in the anime, when they do the flashback for Akira Silky, she just kind of like is pounding the ground, and then they go into the present time. Well, in the manga, she's actually dancing on the rooftop. After everything happens, dances on the rooftop, and then as she's dancing, she jumps off the side of the high rise and kills herself that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she real dead.
Yeah, the anime doesn't show her show that way.
No, she like dances for a couple panels, and then she does like the typical ballet pose where her legs are split out, jumping off the side of the building.
Interesting.
I was like, oh, that is real dark.
In the anime, she just died on the streets, didn't she?
It's kind of what you assumed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, not in the manga.
Interesting.
And one thing is we get a bonus chapter where a monkey alien attacks.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's got this like staff and is hitting cans. It's very on par with the rest of the series. I'm wondering if maybe we get it as like maybe a closing credit, like 5-minute closing credit kind of thing, like end credit kind of scene. Yeah, scene. I was gonna say snapshot, but it's not. That's not correct. Yeah, just a long closing credit thing where they just quickly run through this ordeal. Okay. Yeah, it's just some monkey that turns everybody into cans, like soda cans, and Momo basically tricks the monkey into destroying part of a building because there's this big can on top, and it's like, if you can destroy the can, I'll give up, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the phrasing was. And so she tricks the monkey into like destroying this beam that's holding the building up, and so then the building topples over and destroys the can, so the monkey loses. Okay. And then, super weird. And then after that, Okarun gives Momo a gift as being all like himself about giving or something.
Okay. About where in season 1 would that have fallen?
I want to say that was chapter between 25 and 26. So after Akira Silky.
After that Silky? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It's just a bonus chapter, which as somebody who's starting to read mangas, you understand. It's literally just, I had this idea. Here you go. Here's some extra things that make no sense to the storyline, but I thought it was funny. So here you go. Or I liked this story. So here you go. That's essentially what that was.
Yep. Content is content.
Yeah. It happens before like the 2 doll things.
Yeah. But before Gigi comes in the picture.
Before Gigi, and it's those, the doll that Momo stays up till like 4 a.m. or whatever it is. Right.
Yeah, the 2 health science mannequin things.
Yeah, the mannequins. That's the word I was looking for. Exactly. And yeah, that's it. It's not much.
Okay,
really.
Nothing too crazy. I like the idea that there was a bonus chapter in there that gave something completely different, but
yep.
I can see why they wouldn't throw it in, but at the same time, this is kind of one of those shows that things are so random that, why not?
Yeah, seriously. We have Godzilla. We have this shrimp boxer thing. Like, yeah. Who says monkeys from space can't turn other people into cans? Like,
sure. Yep.
Super crazy.
All right. Well, thanks for the differences.
Yeah.
So before we get into any talks, did you come away with any kind of favorite characters for this first season?
Yeah. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of characters to pick from, but I'm going to be super chalk and say Momo. She was definitely my favorite character.
Yep, she's a great one.
I just loved her. I liked her ability. I thought that was really interesting.
Yep.
It's pretty obvious. I'm not going to go super in depth with it. She just really liked her. What about you?
I think I would have chosen Momo pretty closely too.
Okay.
But I don't know what's going on with me lately. I just like comedy, so Turbo Granny always gets me going. I love the voice actor for Turbo Granny, whether it's Japanese or English. She's got the perfect old lady, grumpy voice.
Okay.
And she's just so funny the way that she just randomly sprawls off and just starts beating anybody up.
Fair, yeah.
I do have a question, though, not that I looked into it. When Turbo Granny got transferred into the cat.
Yes.
Before it was the cat, it looked like it might have been like some plastic, porcelain, something made of hard content. Did you pick up on any of that? Because when Turbo Granny becomes this cat, it appears that it's like a stuffed animal. So I'm very curious on...
I took it as like a hard plastic thing, but I don't know. Maybe when it got some sort of spirit inside of it, it turned into not hard plastic, I guess. I don't know. I didn't read too deep into that one.
No, it was just something that caught my eye. I was like, you looked like you were a solid object, and now you can just move around. And if you're getting punched by this thing, I wonder if it just makes it that much more damaging or what.
Yeah, I have no idea. We'll go with sure. And I'm just gonna call it anime logic and not go too deep into that one. Yeah, Turbo Granny is a funny one, especially in the beginning where she is like, I'll let you suck my teats, and
if you let me gobble your dong.
Yeah, I was just like, oh wow, that is episode 1. We're going all out on that one.
Yeah, and we're not holding anything back for the people that want to just be a little dirty.
Yeah, and then when Okaron like bites on her tits, and I was like, you said you wanted this.
Yeah, right. I thought that was so perfect. I'm so happy that they threw that line in.
Yeah. So did you actually watch this subbed, or did you watch it dubbed?
No, I don't remember how I came across Turbo Granny in Japanese at one point, but it was just for like 2-3 seconds. I don't know where, but they're both essentially close enough to where you can imagine that the English voice actor trying to portray this granny is spot on.
Okay. Because this was simul-dubbed, I did not watch this subbed at all.
No. Yeah, I didn't either. And one thing I'm very surprised about was kind of recently, within the past year or two, these anime that are simu-dubbed tend to have like the last episode or two in Japanese, and the English gets delayed by its traditional 1, 2, 3 weeks.
Yeah, yep.
But this one was 100% English, all 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And for anybody who doesn't know, like we are recording this the day after the final episode. Mm-hmm. So it just recently came out, and I fell in love on episode 1.
Oh, yeah, instantly. I was covering this as one of my short flights. I know very, very tiny percentage of people out there are out there listening to short flights, but I was excited to do all this because it looked silly. It 100% was the most silly anime I think I could imagine right now. Maybe besides like Ghost Files or whatever that one was. That one was just ridiculous. But just episode 1 just throws you through a loop. You were trying to get at in your synopsis, we have the collision between aliens and yokai, and just anything crazy that could be thrown into an anime, they just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the fact that the main character is actually a female main character, and she's not just like, she has actual substance to her. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of nice. It's different. And just, I like the feud in the beginning. Were you surprised how quickly it escalated, essentially? Because it went from, no, I don't believe in spirits, no, I don't believe in aliens, to bam, there's spirit and there's aliens.
I wasn't too surprised because of the way they built it up, where they basically bet each other to go to different locations. Yep. And then surprise, surprise, they get visited by exactly what they're looking for. So I was definitely okay with how quick that could have been portrayed, but it made sense to me. Did that throw you off?
No, not really. Basically what you said is 100% true. I could have seen maybe them elongating it, making it a bunch of episodes by, all right, here's aliens. All right, now here's spirits.
Oh, like separating them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind the fact that they collision coursed both of them at the same time because it makes that intrigue in the series, and then it also progresses the show without segregating it so much.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm kind of jumping all over the place. So towards the end of the season with the cow, it took me until my second watch to be like, oh shit, okay, yeah, that's what's going on. Like you realize that they were taking the cow
for the milk.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck are they doing with the cow?
Yeah, at first blush, I thought that was like, oh, this is just one of those like super old school UFO tropes where a saucer comes, beams down some light, steals a cow, and fucks off.
Yeah,
like that's super traditional. But they gave actual reason for why they need this cow, so it was like a twofold joke. It was really good.
Yeah, there's so many of those. Just very easily could have been a one punch liner, call it a day, and like just the banana. They could have literally kept that for the first episode just to kind of have that like shock funny value. But no, halfway through the season, aliens are back for the genitalia, more bananas. But in this, instead of like the first time, now they've got this claw thing coming out of their junk trying to take the...
Yep.
And I'm just like, what are we going to do next?
What I liked about the banana thing was it wasn't just strictly about the peen.
Yep.
It was also just genitalia in general because they were trying to go for Momo's peen, or banana, I should say. And, funny to us because we know that she doesn't have one of those, but they're looking for reproductive organs.
Yep.
And they just generalize it as a banana, which is great.
Yeah, and it's... They could have easily been like, nope, I need yours, but they're like, we're asexual. We're all of us are asexual. We can't reproduce, so we got to steal your reproductive organs to be able to reproduce. And I'm just like, oh, all right, sure. That at least makes sense.
Right. And I would love to see this get brought to the next level because those aliens made a comment that there's been no evolution in their line.
Yep.
So if they're looking for human sex organs to reproduce, technically that's going to allow for any kind of evolution to start happening.
Yeah.
I would like to see some kind of, I don't know how they would do it with our current time frame, without letting thousands of years go by, but like somehow use some stupid alien technology to take the sex organs, make a new alien, and then somehow time warp this thing into 1,000 years into the future, and then it's just a slightly different alien.
Yeah.
It would just be an idea that they can play with.
And it could be one of those ideas where they talk about how they can't invade Earth because of the yokai. So now, is it going to be towards the later part of the series where you've got this evolutioned alien that can now come in and attack yokai? And now Momo, Okuron have to work together with the yokai to be able to beat the alien.
Yep. I was thinking that this kind of makes the yokai like the good guys, even though they're still trying, like the enemy of the enemy is your ally or whatever, your friend.
Yep.
And when it comes to all three in the same arena, the yokai are going to be our friends, and we have to like splice with them in order to really get anywhere.
And we kind of do feel for the yokai because they talk about basically what Turbo Granny's existence was.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, there's so many dark, kind of traumatizing, not storylines, but just subplots in this series. And you just, with how much of a joke it is, you've got a lot of very serious points and things that are brought up. So it's like, are the yokai actually our friends and they're here for us? And it's one of those misunderstanding kind of things.
Right.
Obviously, the potential yokai that we're seeing in the end of season 1, and I'm assuming the beginning of season 2, they don't appear friendly. So it's kind of one of those things. But is it just more of a misunderstanding kind of thing? Like again, I'm jumping all over the place. The end of season 1, what the fuck is that room? With all the talismans and stuff all over the wall and the floor and all everywhere inside that room. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, that was quite the thing to leave us off on for a season kind of closure, because this was one thing I didn't quite like about these first 12 episodes was how it ended, because yeah, it's one hell of a cliffhanger, but it didn't make you feel like this was a way to end 12 episodes. Like, the way it ended is like there needs to be an episode 13. Like, you're in the middle of a mission. Like, I get it, but it feels a little bit off.
It feels 100% off. I can tell you I know exactly why it just ended.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they go into the next arc of the series. But what they could have done is they could have just ended it on, like, episode 11 or something.
Right.
And then gave us that bonus episode, the bonus chapter as a closing, where they could have just stopped it, ended the episode early. All right, here's 10 minutes of a bonus, bonus chapter.
Done that too. Yeah. But as like a clean cut, episode 11 would have been a cleaner cut because we know what the next mission's going to be.
Yep.
We don't start the mission and then call her quits for a little bit. But, that's just nitpicking kind of stuff. I mean, clearly, I'm very involved, very interested. As soon as season 2, I'm very curious on if this is going to be an actual season 2 or a core 2 because of the way I'm saying that this ends.
It could be like a split core because but we'll have winter, spring, and then summer. A long split core, but sure, why not?
Right. It's just one of those, like I just keep saying, it just feels weird.
Yep.
And to end a full season like that and to start the next season, it's just not clean. So
yeah, absolutely.
I would like for this to be a 2-core, 24 episode season 1 kind of thing. Let's jump back a couple minutes ago, back to the first episode.
Okay.
When we were talking about aliens and yokai colliding with each other.
Okay.
Like episode 1 had the biggest bit of anime logic for this show.
Okay.
And that's when Ocaron as Turbo Granny came through the cell phone in order to get into that spaceship. It was like, fine, whatever. This show's crazy. Let anything make sense. Yep. But to have something physical like this just come through a cell phone, it was just extra random.
It was 100% random. And then, of course, you had the alien that's like, see, we don't have this technology. And I'm just like...
I love that they keep saying that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's like, you could have tried a little bit harder to make something a little bit more... I don't want to say realistic because that sounds silly, but just a little bit more palatable. But whatever. He jumps through a phone. So if he can do this, what else can he do in the future that we're also going to be like, well... He can jump through phones, so why can't he travel through telephone lines or something?
Sure. And then, of course, you have Momo that talks about how she could essentially do anything when she first awoken her powers.
Oh, she went into, like, Ultra Instinct mode?
Yeah.
Like, right off the bat?
Yeah.
I definitely, because of that, after she was talking with her grandma about how perfect and powerful she was, how she can do anything that her mind was put to.
Yep.
I cannot wait to see that power get reawakened, mastered, used again, just in any way. So
absolutely.
Momo's going to be very interesting to see in the future.
What do you think caused her powers to kind of close off?
Close off as in like never used after or as a human on Earth?
No. So she talks about how she almost feels as if her powers have been closed off, or she can't use all of it in the initial stage.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the cause of that was?
What if it's because she was on a spaceship, probably outside of Earth's orbit, where this Earth is being protected by the yokai? Okay. So what if because she's off, she's not playing at home, she's playing away.
Okay.
What if that allows her to get a little bit more instinctual on her powers? That's just one thing I'm throwing out there real quick.
So they were on the spaceship. They were in outer space. So could be correct where it's like Earth kind of holds everything in to almost stabilize it, so nobody becomes too strong.
Right. That's a common trope that like your home base just compresses yourself, and when you get to a different planet, you're like multiple times stronger because of anime.
Yeah.
Because of reasons. So that's just the first thing that crossed my mind.
Okay. It's an interesting concept, though.
The other thing, something more simple could be like her life was on the line, or she was just scared, flight or flight kind of thing.
Okay.
That could just be a little bit more simplistic. Do you have any kind of ideas?
I think it's Turbo Granny. I think Turbo Granny did something like in the instant after it happened.
Okay.
And she's just not saying anything. What she did, I have no idea. But if she can freeze time, what else can she do? Because remember in the second episode where Ocaron is trying to take a shit? And she literally freezes time.
You're right. When she was talking with Turbo Granny.
Yep. When Momo and Turbo Granny are talking, Turbo Granny stops time.
Very interesting.
So what other powers does she have?
Think twice about that one.
Right? Mm-hmm. You're just, because she takes up the whole like bathroom, and with this super menacing face, you don't even think about it. And you're like, wait, nobody else is moving. Nothing else is going on. It's literally just that conversation. How did she do this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that needs to be explained.
Do you think we're going to get an explanation, or is it going to be a one-off?
You know, you never know. Maybe this could be another travel through cell phone kind of thing where it's just something to grab our attention and forget about it. Never know. I really do hope they do, because Turbo Granny, through what I've seen a little bit about the hype of Turbo Granny on the internet, is that like she's amazing.
Yeah.
Not that I know, but she's amazing. So what can she all do?
Okay.
And this was before Turbo Granny was put into the cat.
Yep.
Real quick before we go further, I put in my notes that in that episode when Okarun had to take a shit and he was too embarrassed to take it in front of Momo, I was like,
that's fair.
I mean, yes, outside that little shack that you were in with the talismans that were protecting you, outside that shack you needed Momo's protection. But like, what if you would just lower your ego just a little bit, take a little bucket of some sort, take a shit in private inside that shack. You're perfectly normal inside there. Obviously, you're okay. But like, you know, when it was all for the comedy factor, I get it.
Yeah.
But like, there's a way around it. She didn't have to watch you take a shit.
Well, he doesn't always do the most normal things.
No, that's for sure.
So he's just an awkward teenager.
Yeah. And speaking of the awkwardness, I like how Momo always like kind of brings out like every time Okarun tries to like put himself down, she gets mad at him for doing that.
Yeah, she's a great friend.
Yeah.
And then she gets shy a lot of time with stuff. So you can tell that she's like not really used to, I guess you could say, the opposite sex when it comes to friendships, and she's questioning her feelings about him. And you can clearly see it happening over and over again throughout the season 1. I would be very interested to see where that progresses.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you and the rest of our listening community have seen plenty of memes about Okarun and Momo being in a relationship. And then like in the background, there's pink-haired Ira, just trying to be seductive in some way and like try to take over. Like there was this one meme where Ira was wearing this I Love Canada shirt and she had a jacket on, and then she takes the front of the jacket to cover up a little bit, and the I Love Canada turns into I Love Anal. So it was super funny.
I have not.
No? Okay. Well, I fucking died at that one. It was these memes are just giving these characters extra character values that like aren't necessarily real, but like they make sense.
100% fits within the characteristics of the character.
Yeah, as far as we know them. Yeah, we have these expectations, and yeah, memes are just hilarious.
That's really good. I kind of like didn't even think about like emo Turbo Granny Okarun, like transformed Okarun.
Oh,
is so hilarious.
Yeah, did not see that coming at all. Like, if you were to just look at him without any kind of context clues, you'd think he's this badass. The deep voice, definitely. That one definitely fits him. But like, as far as anime goes, you just expect him to be straight up badass, but not like self-deprecating and like the world sucks.
Yeah, it's
super emo. It's so awesome.
And he goes from like super, super high pitched, and then he's just like, man, I hate this. I'm so selfish, and just completely 180 as far as the personality is concerned. And I love it. I do.
I need to look up real quick to see if that is the same voice actor.
It would not surprise me if it was the same one. Very good range. I am enjoying the fact that we're getting like transformations between our characters as well, besides just these yokai and the aliens. And it's giving a realistic reason as to why they can fight back, besides Momo being kind of, I don't want to say she's OP, but she's very strong as a medium. I'm curious where her powers came from as well.
Before we get to your question,
yes,
I'm seeing this one source saying that yes, it is the same voice actor.
Does not surprise me in the slightest.
Which makes it more fun, because it'd be silly on Crunchyroll's part or whoever is in charge of these voice actors to just have someone play a different role just because, like, these voice actors are very talented. Of course, they can deepen their voice for a moment.
It's actually the voice actor for Okuron is the same voice actor for Takemichi from Tokyo Revengers.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's just a little extra high pitched in Dandadan.
Yes.
I mean, I know he's still a bitch in there, but a little extra bitch here in Dandadan.
So yeah, that's cool. Definitely like Tokyo Revengers. Takemichi is not necessarily my favorite character in that one, but that's here nor there.
Right.
So great. That's cool.
Back to your question. What were you getting at?
I kind of brought up a couple things. So one thing was the transformation of some of our characters. I thought that was great. It gives the humans an ability to fight against the yokai / the aliens without necessarily needing to team up with the yokai, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. Just a nice symbiotic relationship.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So I like that. It's very, very useful. I love that. Before going any further, I remember seeing online that the mangaka of this read a shit ton of other manga, like romantic novels, novels, but romantic manga and stuff like that, just to get a real solid idea on how to do all this. So like he's got a lot of influence and he did everything really well.
Absolutely.
So this kind of feels, you know what? I can't say that. I was about to say almost Dragon Ball Z, like just because it's a transformation, but that's not exactly fair to go that route. But to do its own thing, it's really cool. I like the idea of taking one's powers and using it as your own. Yep.
To kind of go back with what you had read about the mangaka, you can tell that like really trying hard to make a strong female character not just have a love interest with like a powerful male character. Like there's real depth between the relationship, not necessarily like love type of relationship, but real relationship between the male and the female characters. And then like the two female characters that you have, that I did see the one meme where it's like the different hand things. I don't know if you've seen that one, but like,
I don't think so.
Basically the two main ones is like Momo and Okuron make a heart with their two hands. And then like Momo and Shiatori are like trying to punch each other with their hands instead. So just, you have this conflict. It's a love triangle, but it's not a love triangle because he as in Okuron really doesn't have interest in Shiatori. Like she's just, it's definitely a one-sided affair as far as Shiatori is concerned.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Even though I like that they did explore a little bit with Ira trying to get into Okarun's life, like trying to force the kiss upon him.
Reading her dad's love magazines.
Oh my God, that was fun. And that was so goddamn funny. And then Okarun's like, you do not want to read those. You weren't supposed to read those, kind of thing. Like,
what are you doing in your dad's?
Yeah, these little subtle things that it's probably safe to assume that all guys understood what was going on there, but like it was so goddamn funny. These little things all the time. But I'm glad that they, like I said, explored a little bit of Ira trying to push herself onto Okarun.
Yep.
To some degree, I mean, it's not necessarily over because
she's still around.
She's still around. During this arc that we're at right now, she's not around. Not to say that she won't randomly appear, but at this moment in time, she's not there.
Yep.
So she's on the back burner. I'm sure she's going to have more interest in the future when he goes back to school.
She loves Okuron for sure. Mm-hmm. What'd you think of Hot Grandma?
Oh, Hot Grandma. So goddamn surprised. Like, with today's culture, with just things being sexualized, it doesn't matter how old you are. You're just hot. But they did make a small comment like she was young when she had mom. Mom was like the way we took it young. So everybody's having kids young. So we can say she might be late 40s, early 50s. She can still be banging.
Yes. And the clothes that she's wearing, I'm like, oh my God, was not expecting that. And then I find it funny in the flashback, she's wearing a Shrine Maiden outfit, like out and about. You only see it for a quick glance.
Oh yeah. It must have been too quick because I'm not remembering.
And she's basically wearing the same outfit that she was wearing when she sent Momo and Okuron off.
On that train to go fight Granny?
Yep. So it was that Shrine Maiden one.
Okay, yep.
She was wearing, you see that in the flashback. So like, I just find it funny how she's wearing essentially more risque clothing as she gets older instead of when she's young.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Yeah. I mean, that's very obvious. She does not care.
No. Especially, I love Psycho ISA. The granny, she's so goddamn funny. Like, she's clearly strong. I love the idea that she's very constricted with her abilities and, like, perimeter wise. She can only use her powers in that perimeter. And she'd be so OP if it just allowed her to go everywhere. Like, she'd basically be the Gojo of the show, that I would imagine.
Probably.
If that was the case. Like, the way that one episode started where she was doing this interview with that pop idol guy. And is like saying all these things, like describing this guy of his likes and wants and stuff like that. And he's like, nope, everything's wrong. And then like X amount of hours later, everything comes out that...
You have 2 kids. I have no kids. You're married. I'm not dating anyone. Your favorite food was it ramen? No. I think he says it's ramen.
Oh, but God, yeah, it was something like this. You know, something so typical. But
like miso soup. No, it's ramen.
Yeah.
And then...
And then Granny was like, what about the food? I said that your food was this, and they didn't report on that. But like, yeah, she was right about literally everything, and so that's really funny.
Yep.
I find it very interesting that she seems very comfortable with her money. Like, she's kind of flaunting it around to a degree. I mean, it's not to say she's comfortable. It's not like she's...
They have a pretty big shrine.
Right.
It is out in the country, so I don't know what the price difference is. Still a fairly large shrine. She is willing to buy all the kids' clothing, replace all the kids' clothing except for Momo.
So far.
Yeah, Momo has to finish this.
Until we get Gigi's house taken care of.
Yeah, then she'll buy all of Momo's clothing until the future. Mm-hmm. So I really like that. I'm curious where all this money came from. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the life insurance policy on the parents.
You never know. With that being said, nothing's crossing my mind right now. Do we have any confirmation on Momo's parents?
I am not sure where what happened with the parents. Let me try and...
Quick Google search. This one source says that Momo's parents are dead.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and maybe I can be like, yeah, that might ring a bell. I think they might have said that in season 1, but I'm not remembering it too directly. But, even this one thing says Momo's parents are dead, I think. But she has her... Okay, so we just have to go with the assumption that obviously they're dead. We don't have to look too much deeper into how without, again, potential spoilers. But let's just stick with that they're dead.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
I mean, we can even go as far as to say, where's Grandpa?
No. Oh, Grandma ISA, she gets around, so...
Yeah, I mean, she was totally all over Gigi for a moment, too. Like, she was loving all the flattery that he was giving her.
Oh, I don't think anything was happening to that one.
Oh, not specifically, but she was definitely enjoying the praises.
Yes.
Gigi's a very interesting character. He's very out there.
Out there is 100% what I would say as well. Just the, like, oh, I'm so upset. Give me your number.
Yeah, definitely playing everything off. My parents are doing bad, but your number would make me feel better. Like, yes, to a degree, but like, come on.
Or when Momo's friends are giving him a hard time and he's like, oh, that one hurts so bad. But can I get your number?
Yeah. He had a lot of interesting one-liners. Something about him being attracted to someone's heart like a magnet or something like that. Like, I thought that was pretty clever. These one-liners that he comes up with. He's a very silly character, which kind of brings him in, like episode 12, the final, when he's having a discussion with Okarun about wanting to go after Momo.
Yeah.
And like, for a second, you start to feel that like he's a little bit sincere, he's a little bit normal, but then they start to have like this, I can do better than you in why I like Momo more than you like Momo. So that was super funny. And I win and you lose. Very childish, very funny. But
her eyes are already a part of her head, so that one doesn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a bunch of kids. I am liking him. I hope he sticks around. I have a feeling he's going to.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, I do agree that he's going to stick around.
Okay.
And if he can already, well, I guess we have to go on his word with the assumption that he can see spirits and stuff.
With that one spirit showing up at the end of episode 11, I'm going to go with yes.
Like the mannequin thing?
No. Or was it the beginning of episode 12 where he's like got that crazy face going on?
Oh, you're right.
And he's like, I can't sleep. And then you just see this creepy ass spirit. Yeah. Like in front of him.
Okay. So yeah, either he's got something special and different going on, or he came into contact with Okarun's second testicle,
Maybe.
which
Would be.
might be a little too obvious. We never know,
I think the house had everything to do with it.
right? So I think he might just be somewhere within like Granny's perspective of things. Like he's just got a sense of the supernatural.
I honestly think it has everything to do with the house for the simple fact that he says, when we moved out to, we'll say, the countryside and moved into this house is when I first started seeing spirits.
Right.
So I think it's the house. I think the house caused him to be able to see the yokai.
Yeah, that's very fair because he was talking about this as in the past tense.
Yep.
And Okarun's testicle got lost a couple days ago, so it's not like you can connect too many dots at this point. Like this thing has been this is history made.
Yeah, because we had the 5 mediums that came out, or was it 7 and 5 killed themselves, or
yeah,
5,
whatever it was. But yeah,
most of them ended up killing themselves. So we know that this is a process that has already taken some time, much more before the loss of testicles.
Yeah. So that's still going to put into question where the second testicle is going to be. I'm glad that this stupid mannequin didn't have possession of it because this story would be moving on way too fast if season 1 had both testicles locations.
Yep.
That's whatever. But back to Gigi, his situation is very interesting.
Yep.
And because of everything that he's been involved with, it kind of brings into question, do you think he's going to, for lack of a better term, make a contract with another yokai?
Become a
Symbiotic relationship, yeah.
I do feel like that's going to happen. I feel like every side character that comes into the story, that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
For what reason, how, I have no idea. But I do feel like the fact that they had Gigi and gave so much information on him, I feel like they're going to find a way to keep him around. They did the same thing with Okarun. They did the same thing with Shiatori. So why not Gigi?
Right. Yeah, I feel the same. It's kind of like Dragon. It's hard to not compare things to Dragon Ball at this point. But like every character that's involved is special for some reason. They have powers. Gigi can't be in the story with some unknown ability and not have some potential long-term deal. I would like to see him have some symbiotic relationship with his house is haunted, so this is a perfect opportunity for him to absorb the power of someone else.
Absolutely. For our listeners, the reason why Lance keeps bringing up Dragon Ball Z/Super is because he's reading the manga right now, and that's on his brain. So
yeah, I'm a little obsessed right now.
Yeah, we'll cut him a little bit of slack on that one.
Yeah, sorry and thank you.
I think I agree. That's all I can really say about that one. I also think that it's good for Okarun to have a male friend as well.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I know Momo made comment on that this is going to be his first guy friend.
Yep.
So this is going to be an interesting relationship.
Yes, absolutely. So one thing that I forgot to make mention in the manga mentions is there's more of these potential yokais that are sitting in the woods.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I know they showed the guys who are currently in the hot springs. Yep. But that was all the anime showed. So what you're saying is like there's even more?
There's a bunch of women standing in front of them.
Oh, interesting.
That's what happened. I'm going to question what happened to these women. Did they just not show them because they didn't want to make us even more mad for the end of season 1?
Yeah, right.
So that might be my thought process on that one. As far as that happened, I did forget about that one. One character we haven't talked about is Acro Silky. Really, we haven't talked about her at all.
Yeah, I was going to say there's 2 more topics I 100% need to talk about.
Okay.
But yeah, Acro Silky is definitely one of those we need to talk about.
We've already talked about the symbiont.
Both work.
Okay. Relationships between our secondary characters, keeping them around. I kind of like the fact that they ended up kind of killing Shiatori.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had to, Acro Silky was basically sacrificed herself in order to, quote unquote, jumpstart her heart. And I thought that was a great reason for Acro Silky to basically sacrifice herself, because we already saw that she was willing to do that. It gives a reason for Shiatori to be around, and the relationship to happen between Shiatori and Akurasoki, so now she can transform. Like, I thought it was such good writing to make everything make sense.
Right. The only kind of problem that anybody might want to throw in there was, for a moment, Akurasoki was literally ready to kill her, and she did. She ate her. And then as soon as things came to an end, she was like, oh, well, I'll give my life to her and make it all better.
Well, she basically was like, if she doesn't want to be with me, I'm going to make her be with me. Mm-hmm. But because I killed her, I am going to do everything. She basically mothered herself into sacrificing herself.
Right. I mean, it all makes sense in the end.
Yep.
It's just kind of funny that it almost never needed to happen to begin with, but it's okay.
Yeah, it absolutely did not need to happen.
Yeah. But no, Akurasoki, her backstory was very interesting.
Yeah.
The mother just trying to raise this daughter who we have no idea what happens to this daughter up until this day. It almost felt like Demon Slayer kind of vibes, where we got some bad person's history to make you feel sad for them, and then now they're relevant to today. But Akurasoki, her name's because she was a dancer mom.
Yep.
And she led a very hard life, making do with what she could and trying to give her child the best life that she could before whoever she was making deals with ended up taking her out.
I would assume that was a place of business, Yakuza type situation.
Right. That's my first instinct too.
And she worked in a red light district. She probably was not splitting the money as she needed to. And because she bought her daughter this extravagant cake and a nice dress or something like that. Is that am I drawing a blank on that one? Basically,
maybe
a birthday present for her daughter.
As far as the flashbacks went, that didn't catch my attention. It was just more along the lines of her trying to keep dance in their lives.
Yep. So I'm assuming she probably did not pay her fair share, as they would say it.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, she might have been pocketing some extra money.
Unfortunately, that ends up happening to Akurasoki as a human. I like the random coincidence. I don't know how I felt about... Actually, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the random coincidence now that I think about it, because it's Shiatori runs into Akurasoki, calls her mom, because we know that Shiatori does not have a mom because her real mom died.
Semi-recently, at that time frame.
Yeah. And then, why did she never saw a spirit again? That's my confusion.
I don't think Akurasoki human form was officially dead at that point. You know what?
Yeah, no, she was definitely dead.
She was dead because she was running through the streets after that incident where she had that fight with the Yakuza.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she was dead.
And then Shiatori sees Akurasoki in the baseball diamond. But
that was after she got the golden testicle, where it was more obvious.
More believable that she now has some sort of spiritual power. So that's my one question mark is, why did she see her at that moment but never again afterwards?
Yep, that's a fair question. I mean, it might be parallel with why Gigi's seeing spirits at his house. You never really know, but...
Yeah, we're never going to find out. That's not necessary to the story, but...
No, yeah, that's a little of a deep dive.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll throw out some throwaway line to make everything a little bit more on the lines of realistic, but can't expect that out of anime all the time.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
But let's go to Akurasoki's abilities real quick.
Yeah.
She was interesting. Really, she had the power of hair.
Yeah, that's not dancing, but yes.
Yeah, good point. She's the Akurasoki.
Well, she was very nimble.
Sure.
And she was very strong with her legs. Makes a lot of sense for dance. The hair, on the other hand, makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. You think maybe doing a pirouette really fast and whipping up a whirlwind or something like that. That can be some acrobatic ability.
That sounds too shonen for this, though.
Yeah, that's pretty shonen. But I don't know. They made something work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like acrobatic Silky is that important because the powers that she gave Ira, that's a little bit more understandable. I mean, we know that Ira still has hair powers to a small degree, something that I've kind of read up on. So her hair is very important. But she's got the acrobatic abilities because she's so fast, swift, nimble, just like Okarun can be.
Yep.
But
she's been very useless as far as Shiatori as Akurasoki. Granted, we've only seen it one time, but in the school fighting the aliens. Basically did nothing.
Not too much, no. Like there was that quick scene. Well, I mean, this is another scene we have to talk about is when the school got taken over by water and this Nessie-esque kind of monster.
Yeah.
But when Okaru and Aira both transformed into their yokai powers,
yep,
and they had this little dance scene where he was like naked and Aira was kicking everybody, like it was comical, but like,
yep,
yeah, Aira that was not necessary.
No.
Together dancing like that does not improve any kind of combat abilities, but
no,
it was just for show. That was the best that it really showed Aira doing any kind of attacking damage.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the meme where it's when you play the boss character, when you obtain the boss character, and it's super OP, basically useless. Like that's pretty much the scaling as far as that one's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that fight. Which of the fights, I guess, was your favorite?
Damn, I should have thought about this a little bit.
Just to kind of give a quick rundown of any of the fights while Lance is thinking about it. We had the first episode, we had the fight between the aliens, Momo, Turbo Granny / Okaron aliens. Then after that, you kind of had the attack / fight of Turbo Granny and all of the spirit people and the crab. After that, you had Turbo Granny. And then the last fight, you would say, is the aliens coming back at the school. You had Nessie / Godzilla.
We did have the one fight at Momo's house with the sumo alien.
Oh, yep. Sumo alien and Okaron figuring out his powers to begin with. And then Momo at the end. And then we had the shrimp crustacean alien, Nessie, and then the aliens themselves.
Yeah, there's a real big combination thing going on at the end of that school arc.
There was so many.
That school arc was pretty wild.
And then we'll have to talk about the ending of that fight.
It's kind of hard to say.
Okay.
But now that I kind of like re-brought it up, that sumo alien fight was pretty interesting.
Yes.
Because it was the first like OP fight that we got introduced to, and we had to think outside the box when it came to that talisman.
Yep.
Where if that talisman gets put up, everything within the perimeter gets affected by that talisman. So they needed to get outside somehow, even though outside was technically not possible. Not until Sumo Dude punched a hole deep enough outside and allowed him to get away with everything.
What did you think of that anime logic real fast?
I thought that was brilliant.
Okay.
I was totally on board with all of it. Like I said, I was thinking outside the box. I liked it.
It is. It's not just, there's this tiny hole. Let me just squeeze right in here and then I'll put it up.
Mm-hmm.
No, she essentially had to get beat up to create the hole or the indent into the concrete. So I agree. It was good.
And then before finishing this part up, the expectation of sumo rules where if he were to lose at sumo, that would defeat him. And then we found that just wasn't the case. So I like the deception that went on there. And like, yeah, these guys are just a little bit more stronger than what you first think.
Yep.
So I liked all that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the sumo fight was a lot of fun. Did you have a favorite fight?
Just for clarification, are you going with the sumo fight then?
Yeah. I'll go with that one. That was a lot of fun.
I do agree. I will say that one was really good. If I had to say one specifically, I think none of these fights are like normal fights, except for the Okaron Sumo Momo one. Like that's an actual fight. All the rest of them were kind of like trying to outwit each other almost.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably go with, I'm just gonna go with the first one, the very first, the alien Turbo Granny, because it had all the moments you're kind of looking for with the anime logic of Turbo Granny going through the cell phone, the funniness that was going on. Momo kind of awakens her powers and just starts kicking ass. It had a lot of the things you're looking for, so I guess I'll go with that one.
Yeah.
And just the shock value of everything that happened.
Yeah, episode 1 had a lot of everything that really brought everybody in.
Absolutely. It was an intense episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the last thing I know we absolutely need to talk about is the school alien mini arc. You want to talk about so much that happened. I thought it was hilarious when Momo was like, Okaron, just turn into Turbo Granny and try to fight him underwater. And then he tries. Turbo Gritty can't swim. I can't do this. I'm like, I laughed so hard.
Yeah, just instantly goes to, like, I don't want to say emo failures, but like just how much they just suck as people kind of thing. Like, we can't do this, man. We need to figure out a different way.
Yep. And then just how they managed to survive, which was Okuron basically having to sit there as a surfboard naked. Just, was definitely not one of those. You're going to get questions if you're watching this, especially that episode.
A lot of questions. I did like the idea that they went a little bit different and thought about fast travel, about using them as that surfboard as like a slippery thing where you're holding in your hands, because Momo's power is essentially an extended hand.
Yep.
So I thought that was very clever. Yep. Totally on board with all that. You know, a little extra funny that Okuron had to be naked for this whole thing, but...
Well, the aliens were trying to steal his banana again, so with their machine banana this time instead of just a machine, that I laughed way too hard when that happened, where it just pops out and there's this claw machine that coming out of their pants. I'm like, okay, yep, this show went there.
Yeah. It's kind of like if it's weird, put it in the anime.
Absolutely.
I liked a little bit of the foreshadowing that they did prior to it with Momo looking at that shrimp and
being all emo.
But kind of the foreshadowing, the supersonic punches that it does underwater.
Yep.
And then we get to see, like our boss figure having these same punches when the school's drowning. Dude, that Nessie had a hyper beam that was just fucking destructive as crazy. So much was going on. And we need kind of an answer also to why these alternate universes kind of like stop space and time, and then they get put into these universes, or these, I don't even know what to call them, but like time stops and then
like it's alternate dimension within the same dimension.
Right. I was going to say like Jujutsu Kaisen, where domain expansion appears and then they just have to fight in that.
Yeah.
Because, we saw that with the sumo. We saw that with the school.
You kind of saw it with the spaceship.
Yeah, could have. But the school was the biggest one, because this was a long-term, with the sumo fight too, it was long-term. But a lot happened. But when reality came back in, a split second had gone by, and Momo and Okuron were out of class, sitting on top of each other naked. And
Okuron was definitely naked. But
it was really fun. Like when that scene popped up, like those two were relieved that the battle was over, and they're just sitting there like in a sex position, just relieved,
panting.
Yeah, and then everyone sees them. Super funny.
Why are you naked?
That was so goddamn perfect.
Yeah, it definitely, it looked like they had just finished doing the deed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they go running off. Yeah, it was super funny. I'm curious why these domain expansion alternate dimensions appear. Like, that's super, what's going on? What abilities do they have? So I'm curious to see if we get any sort of explanation on that one.
Really need to. And before we escape too far from the school scene, we need to see that nurse again.
What is it? Queen Senpai? Oh yeah, I guess it is Queen BDSM. That doesn't she does not like bullying, but she bullies the assistant or whatever.
Oh yeah. Super sexualized. Like, she just shows up as the super sexual character, and then she kind of just, we don't see her again. Are we going to see her again? Kind of feel like we might not. I think it might have just been like a...
No, I think she's going to be somebody that we see later on.
Maybe she'll get overtaken by some yokai, and now we get some like super skimpy BDSM monster that we have to fight or something.
Full leather get up, like a one-piece leather suit that she rocks in. Yeah, that'd be very funny. Yeah, Queen is her name. So I feel like she was just way too... I just think of the Yu-Gi-Oh reference where it's normal people and then all the like major characters in the show have just this crazy hair. Mm-hmm. That's what she reminds me of. She's just like, there's way too much too much effort in her appearance to make her just a random one-off.
Exactly. I mean, unless he was just extra horny that day and just needed to throw in some extra pervy nurse.
Well, at least she's, I guess, that's, yeah. Yeah, that's sure.
To be determined. We'll see in the future.
TBD. We'll put a pin in that one and see if we get an even more sexualized nurse.
Wouldn't surprise. Maybe not a nurse, but definitely another more sexualized character.
All in all, what'd you think of this show?
Loved it.
Okay.
When I told you after the first episode launched that this kind of has like semi-animation style that you would expect to see on like late night Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just that silliness and all that fun stuff that's going on. But it works. Everything's great.
Yep.
The mangaka has definitely done his research. He knows how to pull people in. He knows how to make characters. Everybody's got such in-depth personality about them.
Okay. Yep.
I want to see more. I can't wait to see more action. I can't wait to see just how more of these problems get solved, more of them to come up.
Yes.
I'm just invested. Well, I don't know what else to say about that one. Do you have any more? What did you think?
I loved it. It was fantastic. I could not get enough of it when I was watching it. I think I watched it 2.5 times through.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely saw it more than once already.
So it was absolutely fantastic. I am super excited for season 2 to be announced. It was just so good. It's so out there. It's unique. I absolutely love it. I tell people with a caveat, this is definitely a show to watch.
Mm-hmm. Little risque kind of moments, but
yeah, there's 100% a not safe for work warning kind of thing to this one.
Yeah, but
it is very, very good. Like if I had to get a rating, I'd probably give this like an 8.5. Like it's so good.
Yeah, this definitely got me at like an 8.5 for sure.
Yep.
Again, hard to justify why it's not a perfect 10, but like it's not 100% there. But again, we need to see this series in its entirety before we give all of that kind of stuff. But
I mean, I know why it's not perfect. As I would never rate anything perfect, but I know why it's not a 9. And it's more of just Okuron, he's awkward and it gets kind of annoying sometimes.
Sure.
To me, after 2.5 times watching it through.
Yeah.
That interaction is kind of annoying. I feel like he's going to get better and progress.
Get more confident.
Get a lot more confident. And I feel like they, as in Momo and Okuron, are going to like actually confess something towards each other. Maybe not necessarily like, I want to start dating, but it's like, I have feelings for you kind of thing. And it's like, oh, okay, yep, here we go. Now it's slightly less awkward when they interact with each other.
Yeah.
Obviously for future time frames, but that's just the annoyance I have because it needs to happen, and the awkwardness is annoying sometimes.
Right. This could be one of those anime where you just get it over with.
Yep.
And we don't have to dance around a love interest the entire time only for it to not work out in the end.
Yeah, we know there's not going to be a harem in this one.
Right.
So let's just... I know it's going to...
Give it a happy ending.
I hope it happens in the future. We'll just put it that way. But yeah, it's super good. Super, super good. We have talked about season 2 coming out in, I believe, summer of 25.
Mm-hmm.
Any expectations? Obviously, we know how it's going to start.
Yeah, that's for... you know how it's going to start. Yeah, so we're cleansing Gigi's house.
Yes.
And that's all we can truly expect.
Yep.
I know that because of, like I was saying earlier, Turbo Granny has much more to do with this story, so I can't wait to find out more about her.
Okay.
I want Gigi to get a power. I want him to be a little bit more super important to our core group. And I want him to be able to hold his own for any kind of future battles. Okay. Yeah. I want to see more of these space aliens, the ones that we're familiar with, being explained a little bit more. Obviously, I would be disappointed if we didn't see them at all in the next season / core, whatever it's going to be. Okay. So I just need more information about them. I don't know what kind of information I'm looking for, but like I kind of want them to be explained a little bit more. Okay. And as long as the comedy value stays up there and just the weirdness, I'm all on board. I don't know what else to expect other than that. Do you have any more expectations?
Yes, only for the simple fact that I don't believe this next arc is going to take 12 episodes.
Right.
I mean, I guess it could, but I feel like the symbiote relationship is going to happen with Gigi. So maybe they spend an episode trying to figure it out. I do think something else is going to happen. So I believe these are yokai. So now that we have yokai, I feel like we're going to get probably an aliens coming back to steal some bananas again.
Oh yeah. Maybe Gigi's banana.
Maybe Gigi's banana. Yeah, that's potentially, and that's how he needs to create this needs to create this symbiote bond with whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that, and then that kind of being the whole season. I feel like this house cleansing thing is going to take a lot of the season, but not all of it.
I'd be surprised if this took any longer than 3 episodes.
I could see it taking like 4 to 6 episodes.
Okay.
Because we don't know what happens to Momo. We have no idea what's going on in that spare bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And how does Gigi get his, so we presume, powers?
Mm-hmm.
Quite a few things could happen in that. So do we meet more characters? Does Turbo Granny show up? Does Acro Silky show up? There's a lot of question marks of how they get through whatever happens, because we got, I wouldn't call it a huge cliffhanger, but an instant that was happening at the end of the episode, or we get 2 separate instances with Momo and with the 2 guys.
Mm.
So how do we progress? So I feel like, it's going to be the cleansing of the house, and then some aliens are going to appear. I think that's what's going to happen.
I'm on board with that. Maybe throw in the second testicle. Maybe
a spotting.
A spotting. We don't necessarily need to obtain the second testicle, but I can see that one being the catalyst for season 3 on why there's going to be the next big baddie or something like that.
Yeah, maybe Queen's going to come by and start doing some BDSM stuff to people or something. Sure. Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we only have to wait, 8 months?
Yeah.
6 months?
Nothing too drastic.
No, it's not too bad. Not at all. But that is all we have as far as Dandadan is concerned. Let's see if I can keep up my good batting average on Lantz's Pokémon Quiz. Probably not. I have yet to get 0, so let's keep that streak alive, at least.
Yeah, so let's see how you do. All right, so let's stay with Gen 1 because I feel like a lot of our audience for this episode are going to be more familiar with Gen 1, so let's let everyone play along. Question 1. How many Pokemon in Gen 1 have multiple heads?
Have multiple heads. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we've got Dugtrio. We have, I know it's the bird thing that runs. I'm drawing a blank on what its name is, but I know there's a second one. Question, do you consider Execute as multiple heads?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's definitely 3. And then trying to run through what I can remember for the Pokedex. I know I'm going to be missing like most of the middle, but we'll be fine. Do you just want to tell me what that bird is? Because I know I know it, so it's
Doduo?
Doduo. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. And let's see. Kangaskhan is definitely... Would you consider Kangaskhan 2 heads? It's technically 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, I did not consider that one.
Okay.
It's 2 separate beings.
Right. Alright, all I can think of is 3.
You're going to go 3?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3.
Okay. You're going to kick yourself for this one. The total is going to be 7.
Yeah, damn, I was off.
All right, so you're going to kick yourself because you did say Execute.
Yep.
But you forgot his evolution Executor.
Ah, shit. Okay, yep.
You said Doduo.
Yep.
But his evolution Dotrio.
Yep.
So there's 4. You said Dugtrio 5.
Yep.
And then there's Magneton.
Yep. Sure is.
And then there's Weezing.
Yep.
And that makes 7.
That sure does. I told you I was going to miss like all the middle.
Yeah, that's okay. When I asked myself this question and I had to go through the decks, I'm like, God damn, I didn't even think about Weezing.
No, definitely not Weezing.
Who would think about Weezing? But yeah, okay, so 7. All right, question 2. What level does Tentacool evolve at?
Let's go with another weird one. 28.
You're not too far off. It's going to be 30.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice even number for Tentacool.
Yeah, I knew it had to be something lower-ish because you get it with like the good rod, which you get kind of in the beginning of the game. Mm. So I figured, and then when you can use Surf, which is pretty early in the game, kind of early in the game, you get it in the beginning more regions. So I figured it wasn't going to be super high.
Right. Yeah, and Tentacool's everywhere at that point.
Yep.
All right. So question 3.
All right, my last chance to get one.
You might get this one. What fossil does Kabuto come from?
So is it the Helix fossil? I'm going to go with that one. I'm drawing a blank on the other one.
Ooh, unfortunately, you're wrong. It's going to be the Dome fossil.
Oh, yes.
Helix means, the spiral with Ammonites, spiral shell.
Yeah.
So that's where that one might have made more sense. If I definitely specifically kept out the two. Which one does he come from, the Helix or the Dome? It would have been a little bit more obvious, but I mean, also not throwing in the Amber, but kind of thought maybe with the Pokemon trading card game going around that it might have been a little bit more up there because that Kabutops in that game is pretty OP.
I don't have Kabutops, so I don't know about that life.
Yeah, he's strong. Attacks for 50, heals for 50. He's strong.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Nope, I don't have Kabutops. Not running that. Obviously, not running that deck. So I don't use Kabuto at all.
That's fair. Yeah, and that's this question came because I ran that deck, so I knew that one. But yeah. Okay, so here's your first official 0 for 3.
Fail. I failed
quite a while, and you finally had a 0 on this.
I had a pretty good streak going. I think we're on week 6. So
we've been doing this a lot longer than 6 weeks.
Really? Okay, yeah. So it's a good streak going. Let's see if I can beat it next time.
Yeah, hopefully our audience was able to do a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll assume you all did better than I did. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us this far. Please make sure to check out the Anime Show on Facebook and Instagram. Check out all the awesome anime content they have on there. Also, please subscribe to us. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of this episode. And subscribe to us on whatever platform you are listening to us on. Have a good one.
Later, guys.